Welcome back, everybody, to Fresh Outlook. I'm Logan Crawford. It is time for our lightning round. We're going to focus today on two issues. We're going to talk about the passing of David Bowie, a pop star who shot to fame in the 1970s. And we're also going to talk about Powerball. I am joined by our guest panel here on Fresh Outlook, Tom Lavecchia, Alain Sanders, and Barna Donovan. And joining us via a phone call is Luanne Hunt, an independent artist. Luanne, I'm going to begin with you. What is your take on the passing of David Bowie? I'm actually kind of surprised that people are so moved by his death.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess, many people knew that he was sick, but I mean, it was sort of a big shock when he was gone. And wow, did we lose an important person in our pop and music culture.
Absolutely. He made a lot of changes. He almost, in my opinion, brought about the whole issue of transgenderism. Apparently he was married, apparently he was heterosexual, but from his appearance on stage, I always presumed he was transgendered. Tom, I don't know if you have any knowledge about this.
Well, he did come out in an interview in, I think, 1972 to say he was openly gay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he actually
Get married to a woman?
Well, he was married to a woman, but it came out that he was bisexual up to that point. And he did it at a time that was a little controversial. He was always controversial along his whole career, as you know, but his music was phenomenal. And again, he was almost a staple. He was a staple in the American pop culture. I put him up there with Michael Jackson and Madonna, easily.
Alan, I feel like we're struck by the passing of David Bowie, not so much because we've lost a great artist, but because part of our youth has melted away. When Bruce Springsteen passes, it's going to be like, oh no, I grew up listening to Bruce Springsteen. I grew up listening to David Bowie. And when he goes, we feel like a part of our past is going, and that, believe it or not, we might actually be aging.
I think that's right, and we are, certainly I am, and many of us are part of the baby boomer generation, a huge generation, and so we had a huge impact as we were progressing through life, and I guess we're having a huge impact also as we near the end of our life cycles, because you're right, it is the passing, and whether you liked him, whether you didn't like him, when artists of that caliber and that fame and that notoriety pass, you say, oh gee.
Yeah, I can't believe it. He's gone.
What happened?
Yeah, I guess I'm not as young as I thought I was. Part of his appeal, Barna, was the fact that he was constantly reinventing himself. We're used to that now. I think the person who put it in the bold-face spotlight was Madonna, because she constantly reinvented herself. But who really did it first was David Bowie.
Oh, absolutely. That without David Bowie, I would say that we might not have Edmund. I don't want to take too much away from Madonna. Maybe she's as creative as well, but really I think he set the standard. Or Lady Gaga the same way after Madonna. And also, what I would like to add to that is what I find interesting about that reinvention is that that his art is not just the music, not just the words coming out of his mouth, but he was able to take himself, that almost like the body, the person himself becomes a piece of performance art, that he uses himself almost like a piece of clay to go and remold himself into something new. And that's what Madonna and Lady Gaga are doing as well. Absolutely.
And Luanne, actually one of my most memorable performances that I recall of David Bowie is when he sung with none other than Bing Crosby on a Christmas special, Little Drummer Boy. Do you remember that? What's your fondest memory of the Bowie years?
You know, it's so funny because I had a really good friend, and she was so into Bowie, and I just remember sitting in her basement, and staring at this big poster of him as Ziggy, and we'd sit there and kind of just listen to his music and just get sort of lost in it. I mean, it just took you somewhere, and I think that's what I loved about his music. You could just be so transported to all kinds of dimensions, and you didn't even have to get high, the music would just sort of take you there.
Absolutely, and you're looking now at video of his last music video. It's called Lazarus, which he actually sings and talks about and presents his own death and going to a better place. Let's switch gears and talk about Powerball. Yep. Tom, you showed up here today, so I know you didn't win, otherwise it'd have been like Logan Who.
Yeah.
How many tickets did you buy? Why do you think Powerball fever struck us?
Yeah, so I didn't personally buy any tickets, but
wow.
But you
were in on pools where people were going to give you half or
no,
something?
I didn't get involved. Realistically, the odds are low, and it's interesting to see some of the stories. So in Englewood, New Jersey, not too far from here, there's a restaurant where they actually were filming, and they thought they won.
Wow.
Yeah, Grassini's in Englewood. So they started celebrating, they started partying. The dishwasher took off his thing and said, I'm out of here. And they found out when they went on the website, it didn't update. And it was the week before his numbers, or Wednesday's numbers on Saturday. And it turns out they didn't win, so they had to go back to work. So I think there's a lot to do about nothing. It's a distraction. And at the end of the day, obviously, if you play and you win, great. But at the end of the day, most people are not. And it's just a sideshow as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's a great distraction, though. For $2, Alan, I get to have $1.5 billion worth of dreams. I mean,
Sure.
I can do whatever I want. I can run for president of the United States.
Sure, it allows you to dream, and it allows you to think, so what would I do? I mean, I tend to view it as sort of long-term financial planning, because it takes a while before you win anything, if anything at all.
I'm going to hold you there because we're running out of time. Barna, quickly, what would you buy if you won?
I would be producing movies that will be Oscar worthy in the future. So I'd be flying out to LA.
And I'd just hire you to produce my movies because I wouldn't want all the work. That is it for this edition of Fresh Outlook, Ebru's TV talk show that does what else? Help you keep your outlook fresh and informed. I'm Logan Crawford, and thanks for joining us. Hopefully your numbers come up, but not your number. See you next time.